Hi, Rophnan. Okay, what
Hey, how
about
you
now?
doing? Hey, Nish.
I think we're having
Hey,
some internet issues. You can hear me well, right?
yes, I do. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really good. Welcome to our live session.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course,
I've
of
never been
course.
to on Instagram Live. I'm bugging right now.
Really? So this is our
Yeah.
first time. I'm winning.
Got me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to have this conversation with us, really, like literally hours before your album drops. We're really stoked here at OK Africa.
Hmm.
So thank you and welcome.
Hey,
I think he's having some internet issues. You guys can hear us well, correct? Nigeria, Brazil, I'm seeing all the flags. Hi, everyone.
hey, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, I think
I
it's
think
better.
we're gonna have some internet issues, but we're gonna get through it. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. I was saying we're literally hours away from your album drop, but you chose to sit down with me. So thank you so much. Yeah, of course. So before we really dive deep into our conversation, I have a couple of questions for you. I want to
Okay.
start this conversation by congratulating you on signing with Universal. That is a
Thank you.
huge deal. You know, as an African, I feel really proud that you're going to put us on a bigger Universal stage. So, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited. It's a big year for me.
Of
Yeah,
course.
big things happening. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Okay, so let's rewind a bit. I think everyone here that is just joining, this is Rophnan from Ethiopia. And yeah, I was saying let's rewind a bit and tell us about your music career. How did it all start? How did it begin?
So I'm a multitasking artist. Like, I'm a producer, I'm a DJ, I'm a writer, and I sing and all that. I play the guitar. So everything happened like gradually, right? But my first
Mm-hmm.
experience was recording. So I love recording, and my first person ever to record was my mom. And
Wow.
I started by recording my mother when I was 10 years old. So
Wow.
that's where it all started. Yeah. So I didn't start as music per se, but it was more of collecting sound and just me trying to have my mom all the time with me. So that was
Mm-hmm.
the whole experience, and it led to, you know playing songs in the classroom, the drums, and singing with my friends,
Mm-hmm.
and recording my little brother, kids from our neighborhood, and all that. This is when I was like 11, 12. And
Wow.
then but I would say, yeah, my first thing was just recording my mom and having her voice with me all the time. So I recorded
Wow.
my mom my whole life. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. That is
yeah.
so cool. So I think your manager told me that you have a countdown party happening in a couple of hours. How are you
Yep.
handling all the reactions from your fans? You know, are you excited, overly excited? Are you overwhelmed? How has the past couple of days been?
It's been hectic. I don't know, the whole year for me, it was really
I bet.
stressful.
I
But
bet.
yeah, but this time what makes it different is like I finally get to say, my album is gonna be out, and people been asking me when are you gonna drop the next project, and
Mm,
it's always hurtful to to see the fans asking for my
music.
music and then me being
Mm-hmm.
able to give them. But now, thanks to God, we're here. So it's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm a bit tired. It
You're
was
gonna
like,
rest.
yeah, it was less sleep for the past 3 months, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we here. I'm very excited. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
don't get
we're
excited for projects like most of the time. So this is
really.
actually the first project I would say that we promoted so big, because I
Mm,
usually like to just drop something and surprise
mm-hmm.
people, because like I don't want to promise anything that I might not deliver.
Mm.
But Universal does not like surprises, and everything has to be planned. So
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So yeah, because of that, we had to promote it the right way, and the whole since we've the day we announced it, the reaction has been crazy. It's been
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I bet. Here at
yeah.
OKA, I mean, not only we love your music, but also respect, how you're changing the game for the East African music industry. So, today's the day. Big ups.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Yeah,
That's right. I
of course.
appreciate you guys.
So, to talk about your music process, like when creating, what exactly is your creative process when creating music?
It always depends, I would say. Sometimes I might get inspired by a sample that I get from somewhere cultural,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be a flute, it could be someone just singing, and I
Mm-hmm.
love to see. I mean, like for me, what makes you an artist is to see art through the normal day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to turn that into something what we call, music or arrangement or a beat or an album, you know. So like for me, I might start from there, or sometimes I might have an idea of some words that I want to turn into music,
Mm-hmm.
and that could lead into. So I would put it this way: anything I look at, I can think of music for it, or I can think of bars or lyrics, or it could be a color, it could be a shape, it could be something non-musical, but there
Mm-hmm.
is a musical term for it. So
100%.
me, yeah. So I might start from there. So it's always inspiration is like it can come from different places for me. It's not something that's boxed, I would say, but
Mm-hmm.
authenticity is the key for me, like to start an idea. So if I feel real about something, it could be a color, it could be a shape, it could be a person, it could be some emotion.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it feels real, there is musical um, reflection for it. So I would go for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, as a creative, I totally can relate to that.
Right.
But I want to know, who is your biggest inspiration or your biggest artistic influence?
No, I'm noticing a lot. It comes from my mother. I think,
Hmm.
yeah, I think the way she looked at the world. I think, I'm growing up. That's one thing I'm noticing a lot. A lot of influence from my mom, my dad, and also my family,
Mm-hmm.
friends. They are like they shape the way I see things.
Hmm.
So you know what I mean. You always be able to see the world through those,
Hmm.
mirrors or glasses. So,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I think yeah, my mom taking up the biggest part, and also my dad, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. They say you are how you grow up or where you grow
Yeah.
up. So I think I understand you. So let's talk about your album. This trilogy. I mean, so the one you've dropped a couple of months ago, how long has it been? So it's
It's been a year now. Yeah.
really, I thought it was a
Yeah.
couple of months. Wow.
Yeah. Because
Um,
you've been listening to it a lot.
exactly.
Huh?
I don't have words to describe Sost. I'm just gonna call it masterpiece. I honestly, honest to
Thank
God,
you.
I don't have any words. It's funny because, personal story. When that album dropped, my brother sent that album to my father. The first person he sent it to is my 7-year-old father. And when I first heard that music, the first person I sent it to is my 14-year-old cousin. So I'm over here thinking, so this music is literally for all age groups. And, as an artist, I think it's very hard to basically attract everyone, correct? Like,
Mhm.
I bet. And I feel like your music could literally be heard by all age groups. And I mean, it has history, Ethiopian heritage, all the cool sounds, and I have no words. So that masterpiece came out a year ago, and I guess a continuation from that, which is Sadist, drops tonight in a couple of hours. And then
Mhm.
there's Zetang that is going to come out after this. This whole trilogy, tell us about it. This whole album.
All right, so the first thing is, like, I grew up as a physics head. So like everything is numbers, and you know, like I said, like I've been recording, so like fell in love with recording and collecting sounds and having a library of cassettes, like a lot of them in my childhood times. And then go into, you know, when I get like when I turned about 15, I got introduced to softwares and computer and stuff, and then started recording on that. So the first thing that caught my attention was like I found physics in music, all the frequencies, the vibration is there, you know. So you know, starting from there, I was always close to numbers. So I love to define things through numbers. You know, everything we say, for example, my vocal, as you hear it, it has its own number. It has its own frequency. And I know where to cut it, where to chop it, where to make it shine. You know what I mean? I do this every day in my studio.
Wow.
So, you know, engineers can understand this in a much better way because like every sound has its own number. And so I'm always attached to numbers and frequencies and all that. So later on, this thought grew in me, like, okay, maybe I should do something that's related to numbers. And I just kept that at the back of my head. You know, it was something that I've been playing around with. And then later on, I got introduced to the Tesla formulas. You know, you know, when they call it Tesla, he put a lot. I mean, he's an inspiration for a lot of people now. I think he was the greatest in his time, even though most don't talk about him. But
yeah.
I think in all this Tesla, Elon Musk stuff, you know what I mean? I think it brought big light to it.
Yeah.
And okay, and then I looked through those numbers and the way he puts those numbers, it became the first inspiration for me. And then, you know, since being Habesha and then being born in an Orthodox family, the Orthodox Christian family, I think, you know, it's very, you know, I mean, I would say it's very rooted to a lot of codings and numbers, and you know, we're not too far from this. You know, we started this. You know, you know, this is one of the things that we have as a country, and I look to the, you know, through these numbers and what these numbers mean in Orthodox terms, and I found really surprising things about it, and it's been embedded in our church and in our numerology, and you know what I mean. It says the same thing, even in a much deeper way about you know, the world, the universe, and human beings, us, and creation in general. So 3 is a creation number. So that's why it talks about, you know, at the beginning it talks about creation. So 3 in an Orthodox church, it's a creation number.
Wow.
So yeah, so 6 is also the sixth day. The sixth day, Adam was created on the 6th day. So 6 is also the representation of that. So even though Tesla put it in a different way, Orthodox Church puts it in a much, much deeper in ways. So in every time I do something, I try to connect the dots, and because like it's the same formula that's been going on from, you know, the beginning of time till now. So always tap into it and then be creative about it. So some people might find it weird, and some, you know what I mean, something that's not related to my life or the religion that I follow or something. But it's been there. All I did is like just look through, just like I do in sound, and be inspired by it. So so 6, you know, so we dropped 3, and then one day I'm sure I will do a whole documentary about 3. Most people don't. There are some codings in there that I put, and metaphors, and a lot of embedded message in there that one day I will, you know, I will reveal it.
Talk about,
and well, because it's going to take a documentary to explain everything.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and yeah, so and on 6 as well, you know, it was very thoughtful, and it's made in a way that I always expect it to be. And then another thing is 3, the driving number for 369 for both of them, and 9 your number. So everything, what I mean by the driving number, 3 is the driving number, is so everything is divided in 3 in all the projects. So 3 has 3 songs. that heart, that both, all of them start with se.
Mm-hmm.
We made it in Roman number 3, right?
Yeah,
So in
yeah.
Amharic alphabet, it give us the se, Nguzu se.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 is infinity. So it has infinities, looks like we,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
represents se. That's how it's.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's why it's everywhere. So that so is so it's embedded from the beginning. Like we've been planning this into, making it so everything is intentional. So it's like so forever. So zalalim. So that's
Mm.
where it's going. So 6, it has 3 parts. Again,
Okay.
it
I
has
expected 6, but okay. We'll take
yeah. So
that.
it has 3 parts. Like it's 15 songs, but it has every song in there, it's divided by 3, which means I have songs that are culturally inspired. I
Mm-hmm.
have so it could be Oromia, Tigrinya, Walaitinga, the one that we did the commercial on.
Mm.
And I have inspirational songs, songs to your soul,
Mm-hmm.
songs to your mind, and songs to your body. So I also
Wow.
have love songs. So these are the 3 body elements of 6. So yeah,
Okay.
so it's made that way. I made it I tried to make it to explain it in a much easier way possible, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to I'm gonna have to take out everything and explain it to give you a whole picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
We need a documentary. This is so much information.
yeah. That will be much
Wow.
clearer with the documentary. Yeah.
So specifically this song Sadist, if you were to describe it just in few words, just specifically Sadist, what would it be for all these new people that are joining?
Man, that's a very hard question.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. Maybe I'll give you an answer then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Okay, so I guess my other question is you have been considered as one of the pioneers for the current African dance music movement or ADM, given your abilities to really weave contrasting sounds and genres all together. So
Mhm.
I want to ask you, what contribution does this album offer to listeners that we haven't heard in previous years?
Well, I would say, for the African dance music project that we're doing, I think
Mm-hmm.
9 has a lot of it. 9 is like strictly for, the strictly rooted to the heavy bass and dance and culture
Mm,
and all that, and very
mhm,
tribe, even the sounds that,
mm,
that I'm trying to build. And, but 9 has a lot of, I would say, hip hop, a lot of words
wow.
from beginning to the end. It's like intact with words, lyrics, a
Mm,
lot. And of course, I have tribal sounds in there. I'm always fascinated about tribal sounds. And
mm,
approach in 6 is very different. It's very not too far from from I would say the average listener. It's very
mm.
creative, but in that box, in that zone, I try to be creative. It used to be like I go outside the box, and from outside the box, I'll just reflect to the inside. But this time,
Inside.
it's from inside to outside.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's I mean, I'll let the fans to see their own perspective in it, but
Mm,
it has a lot of lyrics, a lot of wordings, metaphors, a lot of singing, rapping,
mhm.
and also hardcore hip hop joints are in there too. So that's very exciting to me.
Wow.
I've never done any hardcore hip hop, but on this one,
Mhm.
I I have a couple that will, yeah. I think fans will find it very interesting.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. I found Soest to be very different from your first album, which is Reflection
very
Nezabrak.
different. You can see the
Yeah,
growth or the change, whatever.
yeah, it was very wholesome, right? Uh, do you think this album Sadist is closer to Sost
Very
or
different.
Nezabrak?
Very different. Like I don't. Here's the thing. Like when I made Nisabrak, I thought I found my sound. Like, okay, this is me.
Wow.
I'm gonna do this forever. Yeah, that's what I had in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that was the phase that I was at that moment. That's just
Mm.
the way I felt. And now, if you tell me like what I'm gonna do next, like I can just give you the direction because nine is set, but I
Mm.
don't know what I'm gonna do like after a year. Like I'm
Yeah.
always growing, changing. So it became more like a picture. You know, your picture when you were 15, when you were 16, when you were 17.
Mm. Yeah.
It became like that. So, you know, for example, people who never know me in Nez Abrak discovered me on three, and then they became fans. You know,
That
people
that
who
includes
were
my
kind
father.
of yeah,
Definitely.
those kind of expanded, you know, the nature of Nez Abrak, but
Mm.
it's still very different. And if you see on three, I experimented with classical music.
Mm.
Like never in my life I would think like I would experiment with classical music, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's you know, a whole symphony playing behind Sony
Yeah.
Hilali always Saga. So it's like it's crazy to do that for me. So I had to collaborate with you know, Yared Music School students,
Mm. Wow.
teacher, and yeah. We've been doing so much great stuff there, and then
Yeah.
bring electronic music and give it, you know, a whole different, like it sounds like a whole different genre. Like when you listen to, yeah, I don't know any project that sounds like that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I tried to extend that into six, but six still sounds very, very different. Like there are sounds that people will never expect rophnan on. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes me excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when you record these sounds, you actually travel to, I've been following you, so you actually
Yeah.
travel
Yeah.
to the destination to get the real original sound, and that just blows my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's fascinating. Like, you know, one thing I love about music and the way I make like is also the way I make music. I love the way I make music because like it
Mm,
brings life to my world. You know what I mean? Because
mm,
yeah, one thing that music taught me, or the experience that I do through music taught me, is I would say, you know, like it get me to have a bigger, wider perspective about the whole universe and the whole world and how
mm,
people live and how everyone is right in their own um world. You know what I mean?
mm,
Everyone
mm.
living like life works in a whole different way somewhere in the corner, and then bring that into my world is like it has challenge, but it's very exciting. You know, so yeah, I travel. I love to travel and sample and
Mm,
find
mm.
sounds because like that's what I did with my mother at the beginning. So that's like
Wow.
the extension of what I do, and that's
Mm.
one thing that will define me: collecting sound, ideas, you know,
Wow.
nature. Yeah.
You grew up in Addis, right?
Yep.
Pretty much. Nice.
Born and
Uh,
raised.
born and raised. Awesome. So I do want to touch upon, you're an artist that frequently draws from the Ethiopian heritage as a source of inspiration. And did the turmoil that Ethiopia has faced in the last year affect your creative process?
Of course, it affects everything about me. It
Mm,
affected the way I see the world. It affected um, a lot of things, you know. Of course, we all are affected, you know.
mm,
It got me to the point to say, I don't believe myself anymore. You know what I mean? Because I would find myself in a very high emotional roller coasters because,
mm,
like, you know what I mean? So it was one of, like, still, it's one of the messages that I want to put out when I, you know, with six in general, six
mm,
as the perspective of a 6 year old, right? That's what I tried to do. The experiment with six was going to, you know,
future.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
and to bring the future, I have to go to the future,
mm,
and the future are the kids. So you know that's the reason why I had to go there because I had to clean myself from all the negative thoughts and the negative news that I hear every day. Even though
mm,
I stay away from it as much as I can, but when you have families, when you have you know friends that are involved in this, you know you can't help it because there's
Yeah.
you know, you're attached already, and this
Yeah.
is your country going in mess as well. So
Yeah.
it does very affected me. But here's the thing though. I'm so thankful that I found a way for me to be able to breathe in a authentic way possible without being
Mm.
biased. And for
Mm.
me to go there, the first confirmation was not to trust myself, not to trust my emotion, my thoughts. And instead,
Mm.
go to the kids, try to be inspired by them because they are clean and they think better than me.
Mm.
Most of us,
Mm.
the way they look at the world.
Absolutely.
Or let me give you this example. What happened?
Mm.
The pastor tried to explain it to a 2-year-old, 6-year
Mm-hmm.
old.
Mm.
You will sound so stupid because all the decisions we made, um, everything that happened, a 6-year old would say, no, that's not the way. So
Mm.
without being biased, without being attached to this or to that, to any of the corners, right? So okay, if that's so, then let me write from here, from that perspective, because my generation needs it, so that
Mm.
my generation could stop this trauma and not let it pass on them, so we can create the best future for them. So that's the whole message behind Six. You know,
Mm.
inspired by them to protect them and for us to heal. You know what I mean? Because we could use a whole lot of therapy. No
Mm.
one could be okay going out of what we went through in the past few years, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like listening to you talk about all of this, how, like, I'm a creative myself. How do you come up with these ideas? It's almost like your pieces are almost like stories. You know, you must be either a good storyteller, or are you a creative that just, you get an idea, you write it down and you make music, or like you really like research, experiment, you take your time to actually put out, you know, to put out something. So which way do you take? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm a sponge. I
Wow.
observe a lot. I
Mm.
think that's what helps me a lot.
Mm.
Because like if I have, for example, today I might had 3 or 4 ideas that could feed 3 or 4 another ideas that I had 2 years ago. So
Wow.
I'm always collecting ideas and feeding those. For example, I might have a project called Six, for example, or I mean, okay, X, right?
Mm.
So this X will be fed every day through day-to-day life till
Mm.
it becomes matured enough to be a song or a character in the song. So that's the way I do it. Like, I don't know if you understand me, but
No,
I
I
think as a
definitely
creative, you'll
understand.
understand me. Yeah. So just to
Yeah,
make it clear,
a
it's more
process.
of a process from that I always. So I have so many boxes in my head. So I'm
Mm.
always, you know, when I get idea, I will just take this idea and put this on this box, and I always find a space for it. So that way, my when the time comes to tell the story, that's where, you know, the connecting the dots part,
Mm.
uh, you know, becomes real. So what you see in on Project 3 is a 16-minute of storytelling from
Yeah.
beginning to the end.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the way I tell the story is like this, right? So, um, let's say I start with with Sauna Hilal. So Sauna Hilal, it goes back on. It's taken by in going back in time before this,
Mm-hmm.
before that, this,
Mm-hmm.
before that, right?
Yeah.
So it goes to all the way to Sabah Tariq and all that, and
Yeah.
then it goes sounding
Mm.
so let's say it goes to day one of creation. And then on Sakala, you go. Sakala is in the Bible. It's stated as Gion. የገነትን በር ያጠጣል ይላል in the Bible, which means
Mm-hmm.
Gion is Abai. So Abai ምንጭ ያለበት ቦታ is considered as Gennet in the Bible,
Wow. Okay,
right?
I see the
Yeah,
connection. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So it start from Sona Hilal. I'm talking about day one, but I'm still talking about Sakala. So when you go to Sakala, you still on Sona Hilal. You know what I'm saying? So here
Yeah.
is in time, there is in place. So
Mm-hmm.
time and place next. When you loop the song, you're actually making a circle of creation. So that's how it's built. So
So how did you put Adwa in there? What's the connection with Adwa?
So Adwa, I'm talking about Adwa, but I'm talking about today's Adwa being most.
So I guess you used Adwa as just a metaphor, as
Adwa
a
is a
win.
metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main Adwa that I focused is the Adwa that we have today. You know, forgive. So I know on the words that they like and they you know that makes them motivated for the day. But you know, the deeper message, the cake, I would say, is today's Adua that we all face, because I see Adua as every generation has its own. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, the Adua, they thought is not the Adua that we have today. At some point, it could be, for example, HIV. You know, the biggest, I would say, adversity or monster, whatever you want to call it, the biggest darkness that the generation has to face. That's your. Wow. You have to take it as that. So that's what Adwa is in Sekala, right? So yeah, so the storytelling, you know, it's not something that I would sit down and write a story in a day.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's something that's been there forever, for a long time. And one day when I want something, I'll go to that box and pull that story out and lay it down.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I think it did. Yeah.
And I guess this new album, it's going to be released through Universal, correct? I think I read that in the press release. Are you going to be starting to travel into, you know, African countries, or are you going straight to, you know, maybe Europe, the US? How are you diversifying who you collaborate with? Do you have any interests?
Well, everybody was like once people heard like me signing to Universal, everybody was like, who you gonna feature in your album? Like, who you gonna work with?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for me, that's like extra thing. You know what I mean? Like for me, for example, let's say, who's your favorite artist internationally? Name one. Yeah.
Wow, that's a hard question. I mean, there's so many.
Just one.
Honestly, I mostly listen to Ethiopian music. But for now, I guess just Burna Boy just dropped an album just a couple of days ago. Okay. So I would say Burna Boy right now.
Okay, so Burna, right? So everybody knows Burna out here. So having Burna in my song, it just does not excite me. It doesn't excite me as much as putting Kismo, the guy who you heard on the commercial song that we put out on the Walaita song that just came out with the commercial. Right? It's called Light. That excites me, to bring someone that the world doesn't know, instead of bringing someone the world already know. You know, I know it's growth. It indicates growth, and I know it's exciting, and to learn to work with the biggest stars in the world. I know, but the biggest point is I'm Habesha, and I have a lot of material that the world doesn't even know. And if I get to get this amazing elements of music across to the world, then I did my job. So the whole reason of me staying here, still signed to Universal, why am I here? Why am I doing here? People will just, so that's why Frank was talking about the general manager of Universal Music Africa. He was talking about me to stay here. It's because of that. Like, I have to be here. My music is here. The spirit that I want to sample is here.
Your inspiration is there as well.
Exactly. So after 9, I want to travel into, I would love to travel into African countries and sample and do more sound out of it. Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure eventually, even on 9, I have international artists like that already collaborated. I just don't want to reveal them now. But
we'll wait.
Yeah, so it's like, I have but that's not the biggest thing for me. The biggest thing is for me, like, listening to some Orominya or Dorzi or Tigrinya music in New York, and it's full of New York people.
That'll be a vibe. Can't lie.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Yeah,
definitely. Ethiopian music, Ethiopian culture, to African countries and the world. That's I guess your
Exactly.
mission. Yeah,
Exactly.
it works both
Exactly.
ways. But I
Yeah.
guess the way we see it here at OK Africa is when artists collaborate, it's more of a cultural exchange rather than
Yeah.
just that's a big star, I want to have him. I don't think that's the way they go about it. But I guess if you would collaborate with as much artists as possible, you would still put out our culture to the timeline. You know
Definitely.
what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They'll put steroid on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I
um
feel you on that way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely. So I guess to, kind of close my questions off, what is your
Really?
ultimate I might have more questions. I don't know. Maybe you can
Okay.
ask me
Okay.
questions. What is your ultimate career goal? I want to know.
Oh man, to inspire.
Hmm.
So it's like what I'm doing right now. It's not for me. You know, if I
Hmm.
be able to inspire people who look at me and then find a way to find themselves,
Hmm.
take their trauma to become in peace, joyful. You don't really have to. The world doesn't have to know you. You know,
Hmm.
you know yourself. That's enough. And if you believe in this, um, if you know, when I see people, telling me like you inspire me, you know, that's all the reason why I'm doing this. You know what I mean? For me, you know, my music ends in the studio. Like my
Hmm.
happiness ends in the studio. When I play my music in the car to my friends and they go crazy, it
Hmm.
ends there. I always tell them. But
Hmm.
what excites me is, okay, songs going out and then inspire people to become the better version of themselves. You know,
Hmm.
if I be able to do that more, that would be my goal. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
that would be something that would make me to wake up in the morning and then work whatever hours, till I drop.
Mm. It's crazy. Not only to inspire, but I also feel like you're also educating everyone, including myself. I've
Oh,
heard
wow.
from so many people that they don't know where Sakala is. What is Sakala was the first question when the album Source dropped, right? So I had to
Yeah.
call my dad and like have 10 questions about the song. My dad is a historian, so he was a
Oh,
big fan
wow,
of
wow, wow.
a big fan
Okay.
of the song, and he's also from Sakala, so it's a full
Wow,
circle.
beautiful.
But yeah, you're also, I would say, educating the young generation, and then the bigger generation or the older generation is also like listening to, I guess, listening about their entire past life. So
Hmm.
it's a full circle for you, I bet. And yeah, it's so
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Warms up
So I
my
have,
heart.
of course, I have one question for you since you think I
Okay.
wrapped up pretty quickly. Um, it might be a hard question, but what
Okay.
is your favorite song from Reflection? And then what is your favorite song from Sost?
Okay. I would say Jaragan. I have favorites. I don't care. Like when people
Really?
say, yeah,
You know how
yeah,
every artist is like, I love
yeah.
all
I
my
know. I know.
songs.
I know. Because like we put our heart to it, to every
Mm,
song equally. Like
mm, yeah.
my dad around it. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like Good, yeah, I would say Charakan being my favorite song and Nazabrak. And Sost, it's just three songs. I don't know. Like if I have to choose, I would say Sawe Sagar, I think. The middle song.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's also my favorite. Yeah. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because like it's very raw and it's emotionless and it's very true. And I
Mm,
love that so much. And I've spoken my heart in that song. And on this album six, I would say Wagahta is my favorite song.
Wagahata. What does it
Story.
mean?
It means more of an Amharic. It means in Tigrinya it means Wagahta is Wagagan, which is like the first light of like the dawn, you know, the first light of the day. You know, when like it's not morning, but you know sure it's gonna be morning, like the sun is gonna come out. So it has hope in it. And I you know, like I wrote a song for my mom on my first album, Lingera Shemao. Like I think it's the biggest streamed song.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, you see what I'm saying? See, like it comes back at me every time. Yeah. So on this album, I wanted to write her a song, you know, through the stories that she tells me, you know. So, and inspired by those stories. And then I started writing, and then it ended up being Wagahta. And I wrote it for my mom. It's about endless love, that a love that is like a morning sky that never gets. Every time we wake up, it's like you never saw it before. So it's that kind of love, right? So, and then I asked a good friend of mine who's very, very talented. His name is Maswani. And I asked him like to join me on the song, and he was like, he came up with an idea of, you know, singing for like a lady, a woman. And I allowed it to be because I don't want to be greedy. And then now the song ended up being, you know, a kind of song that you would play for any woman, any yeah. So it's like it's a love song, but it's very it celebrates women, it celebrates beauty, celebrates culture. And not only because of that, you know, it's recorded in Tigray and here in Addis.
Wow.
So all the instruments that you hear in there, the Washington, and it has a whole lot of story behind it. And because of those things and those times, and it recorded 3 years ago at my travel. So I used to travel a lot there and sample. So I've been doing for the last 8-9 years. I grew up listening to Tigray music, a lot of it. But because my dad used to play a lot of Tigrinya music, but I never trusted myself to make one. So I always wanted to study the culture and I want to go deeper. And I've been doing a lot of research like 8-9 years ago, and I've been doing it. So on the Nezabrak, I wanted to do one, but I was not there. So in my travel to Tigray, I started recording in Bilta and Washington and all that, you know. And then it ended up being an inspiration for this song, and it just sounds beautiful. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Yeah,
we're hours away, few hours away.
Man, yeah, it's 2 hours away. Damn.
The moment,
you know, my manager told me like once after this rock came out, and then I was like, I performed as a DJ like for a long time, and I was always good, but I never sang in front of people. Because like I was the DJ, you know, I was not the performer.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm gonna perform. Like I hate performing, man. I don't want to perform this time. And he was like, yo, once you put out your song, they're not yours anymore. People, if you ask, you have to deliver. And I'll never forget that day. And now I feel like all these songs that I love so much. Desi is another song that I really love.
Wow.
Fans, watch out for that.
I think the names remind me of all these places in Ethiopia.
Man,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. Like I have super energetic songs like Fole and Gove, which is like inspired by the Gada and the Mescal culture that celebrate Oromo culture. It's like crazy. Probably on Fole I have around 15 to 20 people. I'm gonna have to go through the file and pull that out. Collaborated like as a mass.
Wow.
On Gove, on Fole I have about probably 8 to 10 people singing. So it's a huge project.
Wow.
And so this is also one thing that is it's very exciting.
You're really traveling with music.
Man,
that's
like
crazy.
A lot of library on this one. Yeah. I have a song called Yesatrat, which I bring 3 genres together, choir, choir music and blues and dubstep all together. And I started writing that song 8 years ago. Can you believe that? And it was supposed to make it on Nets Abrak, but it didn't because I was not happy with the song. And then I had to do another collaboration with a whole choir and a blues guitar player, which turned out to be amazing experiment. And these are the songs that really excites me. Yeah.
Wow.
And I have a song that I wrote for myself. It's about me and my life and the way I came all the way here, and it explains a lot about myself. It's called Yamanyukane. It's the last song of the album. And also that's one of my favorites. I want fans to just give it a listen, give it a good listen, try to understand the words. Yeah.
Yamanyukane. I think even the titles are super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so crazy. A lot of people are asking, what the numbers mean, but they're gonna have to rewatch this whole thing again. I'll make sure to
okay. So
post it.
Okay, we're gonna post it.
Yeah, for sure. You have any questions for us, man? We're really happy to have you here.
Okay, Africa. So yeah, man, I really like you guys, and you guys doing really amazing, and thank you for having me here.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's really our pleasure, and Amesegnalen from my team. But yeah, we're gonna get ready to listen to your music in a few hours, and also I think you have you're gonna be meeting with our editorial team in a couple of days, I believe. I don't know if your manager has spoken to you about that, but I'll see you again.
They don't tell me stuff.
They'll just schedule stuff.
I have a lot of things piled up on me, but we'll get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully we'll see each other soon when I pull up to Addis, or we have a team there as well. So thank you so much.
Great.
This has been a pleasure.
Thank you. So can I thank a couple of people and announce the Vardis of the countdown party we have in Vardis, like in
this is your stage. Hours. Go for it.
All right. So we have a countdown party. We prepared this countdown party because I believe it's a new era for me. So I wanna celebrate as a new year. It's a new beginning for me. So we'll do the countdown and we'll drop the album in midnight. That's
today.
So it's gonna be happening. Yeah, in 2 hours. It's gonna be happening in Vardas Club here in Addis. So I don't know how many people we can fit in there, but I expect a few of you to be there, which means 1 million.
I guess so. Where's Vardas again, if you want to specify for everyone? Is it a Bole
or? They know it. Everybody, yeah.
I've heard of the name before. I just don't know where exactly it is. Yeah.
So Alona is another name that it has. And okay. And I'll see you guys there. And I want to thank my management team, everybody, Nitai, Itamar, Four Dots Music. I want to thank the graphic designers, the crazy graphic designer that designed the album art, which is inspired by kids' paintings. Fanuelu, it's a go Tesfa, and Zamanuel Abela, which is another amazing talent. And you're gonna see there, like, one thing that really really makes me happy is I always try to collaborate with true artists in the visual world. So my first album on this, I collaborated with G-Box, which is one of amazing talents out here.
Hands down, G.
You know. And now, it's still same family, collaborate this, with Fanuel and Zagao, and it's been amazing for me. I'm so lucky to be, to exist in my generation, and to have to work with all this amazing talent. We the best, no question. And we're making history.
Ethiopia. East Africa to the world.
East Africa to the world, baby.
Indeed. Yeah.
And fans, thank you so much. I love you guys. We here. We there.
Absolutely. This has been so fun. I expected just to interview you, but this was just like a cool chat. Honestly, I'd love to do this again. Thank you so much, Rofi. And hopefully I'll see you soon in person to celebrate the album.
Yeah, we have to. All right, guys.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll be posting this for everyone that has missed the first part of this conversation. Peace out, everyone. Tune in on our feed.
All right. Bye.
Bye, rophnan. Have a good day. Go celebrate.